Hi there, welcome back. I'm Deborah Arneson, licensed clinical nutritionist, here to put some tools in your toolkit so you can protect yourself from things coming down the pike, supposedly in the fall, when flu season tries to rear its ugly head. Today we're going to actually talk about anti-aging. Why? Because if you're not aging on the inside, you're not aging on the outside. So if we take care of anti-aging on the inside, your immune system bolsters, becomes stronger, becomes more protective and capable of shooting and killing off things like viruses and bacteria and expressing cancer cells. So anti-aging, are there the best kept secrets? There actually are, but we all refuse to remember or honor them. And if you take care of yourself from the inside out, and these are lifestyle habits, they're hard for people to break. Most people don't want to sleep more. They're like, oh, I've slept like 4 hours my whole life. I'm like, well, now you're 60, so you better cover your you know what, because around 60 things start going to hell in a handbasket, immunologically, if you had really bad habits your whole life. So the number one thing we're going to talk about is sleep and how very, very important sleep is. I am the queen of sleep. I adore sleeping. It is my favorite pastime next to reading and learning new things. But sleep is my miracle worker. It is my healer. And I revere it. I love it. I can still, at my tender age of over 60, and I'm not going to share that number with you, but considerably over 60, I can still sleep 9.5 hours a night, which is a sign that I'm still young inside. So that should be your goal, honestly, is to sleep better and sleep deeper. So there's something imperative about going to sleep. A lot of people that I see can go to sleep, but they don't stay asleep. Like in 2-3 hours they wake up, or collectively, I'd say the majority of people wake up around 3 in the morning, which is the time of detox. And it's the time when the body starts cleansing and fixing and repairing and working its tail off to make you healthier for the next day. So it's imperative that you sleep and lights out by 10 o'clock. I know, I have a hard time with it too. But the deal is, if you can get your lights out, put your lights out by 10 o'clock, midnight to 2 o'clock is when the most vital part of restoration for your endocrine system, your immune system, occurs. This is the big kahuna. If you're not in REM 2 sleep by midnight, you will not effectively recover a healthy immune system from 12 to 2. It's that simple. So, I'm a bad girl. I stay up late. I love reading. It's my quiet time. But that being said, when I want to go to sleep by 10 o'clock and I tuck myself in, I use a couple different products to bring my stress down, because staying up late creates an enormous amount of stress for the immune system. This one here is called Theanine Serene. Can you see that? It's by Source Naturals. It's the middle strength product that I use, and it affects the center of the brain. So there are different parts of the brain that need to turn off to get a deep sleep. But this one, Serene, Theanine Serene, is wonderful, by Source Naturals. You can buy it over the counter. You can buy it online. 2 of these, not 1. 2 of these will, like, boom, knock you out. No hangover whatsoever in the morning. Completely natural, not addictive. The other thing that's softer that I really love too, and I use this more often than not because it works on the frontal cortex, which is that brain spinning, thinking thing that you get going on if you stay up too late. So Serenogen is by Metagenics, and they're a quality company, make excellent products. They have terrific educational resources online for consumers as well, for all kinds of brain products. But Serenogen just takes away all the sharp edges. I call it peace in a bottle. It also knocks me out. If you take it during the day, it does not knock you out. If you take it during the day, it just calms your adrenals down, kind of like rocking the baby. So take a look at this one. Maybe start with that one because it's softer and easier. And this one here is called Stress Ease, and this is by Banyan Botanicals. And Banyan is the #1 Ayurvedic producer of Ayurvedic herbs in the United States. I love all their products. And they're clean, they work, and they're non-competitive with medications and drugs, so as the other 2 are as well. So I love this one. It's called Stress Ease. It just, again, it has ashwagandha in it. It helps the liver. It helps your detox pathway. So it does other things that these 2 don't do, but they all work collectively for the better good of your sleep cycle. So honoring your cortisol clock means you've got a clock in your brain, and the clock actually wakes you up when the sun comes up and the sun peeks through the window, and it turns your brain off, or hopefully does, when the sun goes down and dusk descends. Most of us are pretty irreverent. We don't honor the sleep cycle, which is why we age from the inside out. And you will not rebuild your entire immune system for decades and decades unless you honor the sleep cycle. So look up cortisol clock, just Google it and educate yourself. Also, you need to take down stress, because stress targets different organs and systems and causes them to become more stressed. The more stressed organs and systems become, the more we constantly deplete our cortisol reserves, our adrenal reserves, our epinephrine and adrenaline reserves. And the more they become depleted, the more susceptible we are to viruses and bugs and flus and diseases and cancer expression. So I would suggest you take a look at all of those. Louise Hayes has a great book, and it's called The Psyche-Soma Body Connection. And I love her writing because she actually expresses, like, if you take in a hurt heart, then you're more susceptible to a broken heart and to a heart attack. If you take in, anger, and you hold it and you don't find a way to release it, it affects liver, because liver is affected greatly by the emotion of anger. It's a wonderful read, a constant book that is great just to refer back to. It's probably the number one gift I've given most of my clients over the decades. If you don't want to buy her book, then there is a saying that a dear friend of mine gave me decades ago, and she's a minister, a universal minister, so she doesn't really follow a faith to speak of, but she's lovely and a great guidance counselor in time of need. And she had a saying that is, two of them. The first one is, bless it and release it. Now, it's really hard to do when you're mad at somebody, right? Or you're like hurt to the core, but if you can constantly say it and reaffirm it, I'm going to bless it and release it, then you're blessing it. You're asking, the good Lord above and your angels to bless this, and release it from your spiritual realm, from your heart, from your auric field, your energy. I used to say it to my husband all the time when he was a bad boy. I'd be like, I'm going to bless you and release you. He'd be like, what are you going to do to me? I also have another saying that I love that was gifted to me by Jennifer. And she goes, send whatever it is that you can't figure out, that you can't fix, that you cannot change, that you feel you are powerless over, to the light. So she explained it to me this way. There's a universal highway of light that coexists above us. It's like a highway, and it's where all the higher beings rule and reign. And when you send it to the light for the highest good of all concerned, even if you think it stinks and you want nothing to do with it, send it to the light, for everyone's better good, so that it teaches you that lesson, if it's a lesson you need to learn, just so you release it. The most important thing when you're holding on to stress caused by someone or something or a situation is to figure out how to let go and let God. And whether or not you believe in God, you need to let it go, period. Otherwise, you're going to hold it. It will lock in to a different organ and system, and it will manifest dis-ease, which is disease. So, a lot of people are very compelled by loss aversion, meaning they're afraid of losing things more so than receiving gain. So I'm telling you right now, there's an energetic field that we humans are composed of. There's a body, mind, and spirit, and you need to address all of them. I personally will not let someone take away my joy, at least not for long. And there have been times in my life when it's been heart-wrenchingly, heartbreakingly difficult to let go of the sadness that comes from someone else's behavior, or, that on top of what's going on with the world and the things you see that are so heartbreaking on the news. I don't watch the news. I'm going to hear about it. I'm going to see it on Facebook. It'll pop up somewhere in my life anyway. And then I turn on all the wonderful, soft, fuzzy animal films of humans helping animals. And that brings me back to my sweet space. But whatever it takes for you to do it. You can also listen to different frequencies. So I believe frequencies are the wave of the future for healing humans. And there is one on YouTube I think it's 527 or 529. It's for anxiety and despair and grief. So Google it, go find the one that suits you, and listen to it at least 15 to 20 minutes a day. I gave this to my physician in Chicago years ago, probably 7 or 8 years ago, and I went and saw him 2 years later just for a physical, and he said, "You changed my life. That frequency changed everything for me." And I'm like, "What? How?" I mean, because he always seems so chill. And he said, "I stopped worrying about everything." He goes, I just didn't go there anymore after about 3 months of listening to this. Every morning I got up a half an hour early to listen to 329 and 527. And 520 or 329 is DNA repair, which we could all use. So change your frequency. Get some sleep. Listen to the good frequencies. Lose your stress. Understand what stress does to you. Let it go. Bless it and release it. That's it for today. Stay healthy. God bless. See you tomorrow.